I just want to start by saying that I fully intended this to be all one video, but by the time I finished editing and all that, it just seemed a bit too long, so I decided to break it into 2 parts. So this is part 1 of 2. Whenever I have part 2 uploaded, I'll be sure to link that in the description below. Hopefully with this video, you learn something new going into the vinyl record hobby. I know that anime vinyl records are becoming a much bigger thing now, so if that's why you're here, then this video is for you, and we'll let the rest of the video play out. Now, I'm not the only one who has a couple of waifus on my shelves and desk, and I'm pretty sure you take care of your figures, right? Clean them every now and then. You make sure that they're all good on a level surface. Now, what do our waifu figures have in common with vinyl records? They're made of plastic, of course. Now, some of you who have been watching my channel already have shared with me that you've just picked up your first record ever, and that's awesome to hear. And others have been asking me about my setup, what do I use? So I've compiled a list of 5 things that I think you need, no matter where you are on the spectrum of just starting or have been in this hobby for a while, to be able to treat your records like you do your waifus. Welcome to Music and Anime, I'm Ab, and first, as always, the song of the day. This one is coming to us from Paletas, and I love that handle, it's great. But he says, Kain by Queen Bee. This is the first opening to the anime series Dororo, which I actually started watching. I'm 2 episodes in, and Hyakumaru? This dude is blind, deaf, can't speak, and he can fight demons left and right, go freaking Ninja Gaiden on their ass, and I don't bat an eye. I'm like, whatever, anime, that makes sense to me. But this dude writes his name on the ground? How does he, what? I'm pretty sure we all know about Helen Keller. She can at least feel things and whatnot. How the hell could, he's got swords for hands. It's like, how do you teach Edward Scissorhands if he was blind and deaf? Like, what do you do at that point? How do you... Ugh, I have to collect myself. It's great, though. I absolutely love the series. And the song, though, the opening, one little critique I have for it, I just needed one more hit of the Kotsuzumi drum, because it sounds so good with everything else that's happening, and you hear that, and it's just like, ooh, in the full version of the song, which I'll link in the description below, full music video and everything, I get my Kotsuzumi fix there. So, it's still a solid opening. It's great. If you'd like a song or piece of music from an anime that you like highlighted here, comment down below with Song of the Day, and you could see it in a future video. Now, getting on to the 5 things that I think you need, I will be showing demonstrations and stuff, and to help me with my demonstrations, I'll be using my Death Note record by Tiger Labs. This is, it's just a beauty, you know, I love listening to this thing, and anytime I get to show you guys this, any opportunity that I have to, I'm going to. It's a nice looking record. So yeah. Moving on, the first thing, the number 1 thing, whether you are looking into a record player or have one already, is this right here. This is a scale. Now, why is this important? Regardless of the record player that you have, the stylus that it comes with, or the needle that it comes with, has a recommended tracking force. Now, what the heck is that? Tracking force, simply put, is just the amount of weight that the needle is pressing down onto the record. So always look into the type of stylus that your record player comes with and make sure that the tracking force is whatever that is. This is why it's recommended that you get a record player that has the weights on it, because you have direct control over how light or heavy the tracking force is with those. So let's say that a record player with the counterweights on them is just out of your budget. That's totally fine. You hear a lot of people say don't get these suitcase style players. The reason being is because of how widely manufactured they are. With how much they pump out, there's bound to be a few that make it onto store shelves that don't actually have the correct tracking force. Let's say you pick one of those up, you already have one of these, so you're ready to see what the tracking force is. I actually have my very first record player here, which was gifted to me by my sister for my birthday. This was my first record player. I had records before I even had one. She noticed that and got me this, and that's how I imagine a lot of us got our first records, getting gifted it or something like that. Because again, super easy to get, super easy to gift people as well. I'm going to show you really quick how you can use this on both a suitcase player as well as any record player with counterweights and a full-size platter. This is actually really easy to do. What's really cool is that this comes with a 5-gram weight. So when we turn it on, we have that nice LED there. We can place our 5-gram weight there, and we can see right there that it's 5 grams. Now, the stylus that these suitcase players come with, they are rated for a tracking force of between 5 to 6 grams, which might sound super heavy and like might drive some audiophiles nuts hearing that. Believe me, I understand. But again, with this stylus, that's what it's rated for. So as long as you're within 5 to 6 grams with this stylus, it's not going to damage your record. This little scale, it maxes out at 5 grams, but if we reset this with the weight on it, you'll see it goes to -5 grams there, and now we can weigh up to 10 grams. We want to make sure that the top of the scale is at least level or very close to level with where the stylus is going to drop onto the record. You want to put this on the side of the platter. You want to stack something underneath the scale to make it level with the platter. Once you have it lined up, go ahead and drop the needle, and you can see that mine here is reading at about 5.88 grams. A little on the heavier side in between the 5 and 6 grams, but it is within the recommended tracking force for this stylus. So what happens if you're gifted one of these or pick one up and it's over 6 grams? Well, simply put, exchange it. It might be a hassle, it might be a process, but ensuring that this isn't going to carve your records, it's the most important thing that you can do to make sure that you're not damaging your records so that they last you a very long time, because they could last for decades as long as you take care of them very well. Now with a different record player with a full-size platter, the stylus that I have on this record player is the Audio-Technica 3600L. The recommended tracking force for this one is between 2.5 and 3.5 grams. And as you can see, I'm well within the 2.5, 3.5 weight. So yes, the styluses on my record players aren't going to damage my records, which is very nice. I can now play my records, know they're not getting damaged as I'm listening to them, which only makes it a better listening experience. You want to be relaxed when you're listening to your music, and this will ensure that you can have peace of mind. And it's like less than 20 bucks. I got this for around like $14. So yeah. Definitely a must-have for anyone. So going on to number 2 here is actually to have a place in mind for your record player, because it needs to be on a level surface. That way when the stylus is tracking through the grooves, so the actual like music pressed onto the record, the way the grooves look, and I'll try to get a close-up image of it or something, it's like a canal or something. Now if it's not balanced, then the stylus is going to lean on one side more than the other. So the way that these tracks are mastered and whatnot, you might not be getting the full sound that your record has to offer. And it can also cause some skipping. If it's leaning more on one side of the groove than the other, it could jump over to another groove, hence skipping in a song. You also want to keep in mind if you have any pets or anything around that might, I unfortunately don't have a dedicated room for my setup and all that stuff. So it's out there in the living room amongst my little cats, and they jump on everything. They're climbers. I can't really do anything about that. And I went a while without listening to records the way I wanted to, simply because of that. One time my cats were sleeping and I thought I can read some manga, I can play some music. I had just got the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack. I put down disc 1, was getting ready to clean it, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw my little Kave jump, and he barely touched my record, and I caught him in midair so quick, and I'm so happy because, I went a while without listening to records because that terrified me. I've actually since built a thing around a record player, and I've cat-proofed it. I made sure that it can hold their weight, all that stuff, and I still get pretty anxious when I'm prepping a record to play because they could still jump from out of nowhere, so yeah. That's my situation. It's a hell of a lot better now, and I can actually sit there and listen to my records and whatnot. It's very stable, so like when they do jump on it while a record's playing, it doesn't move at all, so I got peace of mind, Now, if you have a record player already and have a similar horror story, I'm all ears, so please comment down below with your horror story, and we can go through our PTSD together, you know what I mean? So going on to number 3 here is actually protective sleeves. Now I have 2 kinds here. They're outer and inner sleeves. And again, with the aid of the Death Note soundtrack here, I'll just show you simply how to install these, if you will, onto your records. It's very simple. So what do these do exactly? Obviously, the outer sleeve, it preserves the jacket, of course. Won't get like scratched and whatnot. It'll just scratch on the outer plastic. Now between these two, the inner sleeves are far more important. And you will notice that some records might actually have these already. Now, these also have some anti-static properties, right? So what does that mean? It'll prevent a small amount of static from collecting onto your record. So it'll help get a better sound. But you can get these in packs, like 50 to 100 packs and whatnot. I'll link the sleeves I have here down in the description below if you're interested in getting these. Aside from the anti-static properties, the inner sleeve really prevents the record from rubbing against the rice paper. And I'll do a noise test because you can really hear how much the record is rubbing up against the rice paper versus the plastic inner sleeve. I don't know how well the mic picked that up, but it was a noticeable difference from my end. Now, the quality of these things for me are very nice and stupid cheap as well. You can get like a 100 pack of the outer sleeves for like 15 or 16 bucks. The ones I have are by Vinyl Style, and the inner sleeves I have are by Invest in Vinyl. Now, these are a 50 pack and they go for like 12 bucks or something. Now, you might have saw there that I was using this guy here, and this is a record glove. Now, this isn't on my list, but I'll throw this in here too. You don't need a record glove to handle your records, but I do understand it could be a little awkward at first. This makes things a hell of a lot easier. Inside is lined with the same kind of felt that a lot of the platter mats that come with a record player are made of. So because it's made with the same material, you can go ahead and handle your records a lot easier. I think this is something that even if you are a veteran with, records and stuff like that, this is just really nice to have. And if you're stubborn and you're like, no, it's totally fine, whatever, I'm a pro, I don't need that, I mean, cool. I still like these, they're nice. Earlier with the suitcase players, I did forget to mention, if you have one of those and you're listening through the speakers on them and you don't have a different speaker setup, do yourself a favor and get a decent pair of headphones, and you will have a much better listening experience with a player like that. I'm telling you, there's no comparison. Like the speakers on those things are complete ass. That's one thing that is true about all of them, I'm sure. But seriously, do yourself that favor and thank me later. So this is part 1 of 2 to this video. So I'll make sure that whenever I do have part 2 uploaded, I'll also link that in the description below. So if you are watching this at a later time, be sure to check that, and part 2 will be right there waiting for you. So yeah, keep on listening to the music to make these animes so great, and I will see you in part 2 of this video. Thank you.